Welcome back to another episode of the Just Drew podcast. This is episode number 2. Thanks for tuning in again. If you're back for another one, that's great. Super excited that you're here. Today's guest is our mayor. Well, if you live in Norfolk County, it's our mayor. But Mayor Amy Martin. We've been friends for quite a while. I think we met back in the wedding industry. She was a wedding planner. I was a wedding videographer. And as time went on and she got into politics, I helped her make advertisements and things like that. She really does care about the area, which is why I'm such a big fan of her. And she puts just 110% into what she does. She loves this area. She loves her job. We do talk about a wide variety of topics, from gas wells to the green bin system to reaching upper levels of government and what it's like to be a mayor. I think this one's a good one. Very grateful for her to come on. She was excited to come on. I'll leave it there. Today's custom mocktail, because we did shoot this at lunch. We made a berry politics refresher. This one is made up of a half cup of strawberry bubbly. You can put more if you want to. 1 ounce of homemade strawberry jam. Make sure you push it through a strainer, unless you like those little chunks. I'm not one for, but I mean, go for it if that's what you want to do. And then we garnish this one with a strawberry, and don't forget a half ounce of lemon juice in there if you want it to be a little more tarty or sour. If you want the cocktail version, just put an ounce of your favorite alcohol in, liquor. This one I would probably just do vodka, but I mean, you do you. Anyways, here's Amy Martin.
Hey you, you're listening to Just Drew, Just Drew, Just Drew.
But yeah, we started recording. We'll cut into the conversation whenever I feel like it's good. But
cool.
Yeah, we have a little jingle. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We really need to put it on the board so I can just...
Yeah, we do have to put it on the board.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Oh, you know what? That's what I have to stop. There we go. Okay. Oh, this might play. You know what?
Well,
Hey you, you're listening to Just Drew, Just Drew, Just Drew.
I love it.
It's so good.
And he's such like a goofy
It's
kind of
so
guy too. So I was like, oh, you know what? This is gonna suit definitely like our personalities as well. So
Sets the bar.
yeah.
All right.
So how's the life of a mayor?
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's different.
Does your day-to-day change often? Because I feel like it's not like your typical 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, and I think that honestly, that's my favorite part, because every day is different. So like if you're the type of person that doesn't really like the 9-to-5 grind, or doesn't like a prescriptive routine, all of those things that you have to do and you don't want to do.
So me, yeah.
It's me too. So like that part of the role, I honestly live for. I thrive. Every day is different. Flexibility to make your own schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have expectations going into it? And did that meet any kind of expectations? Or was it completely different than what you thought?
I think I did, because I was the ward counselor for Port Dover, right? So
Yeah.
I think I had an expectation that it would be very similar to that, but just kind of more strategic. But it's a whole different ball game. Like, so you're prepared because procedurally you know what to do, and you know like how stuff works through the departments and goes through the motions, but the role itself is just a whole other level of responsibility. So no, I was not prepared in that sense, but I don't think that you can be, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think the best thing you can do is just demonstrate your leadership skills to the public if you want the role. I think it's not a rule, it's my own little standard, but I think like, wouldn't it be the kindest gesture to go and serve for a term as a ward counselor and demonstrate to the people of Norfolk County, hey, this is how I lead, this is how I debate, this is consistently what my work ethic looks like, and some of my characteristics and traits for 4 years, and then run for mayor. because you learn the role and set an expectation, but you're also not like you're a known entity at that point in time. They can trust that a bit more.
Yeah. Can you move that mic a little? Just like a touch, just closer to your face. Do you want to help?
Yeah, I got it.
Just
Here he is. Here he is.
see. You can move the whole thing forward. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah, that's perfect. Is it common for people to be a ward counselor first, or have people just ran for mayor out of nowhere?
Yeah. No. The answer is it common? Well, in Norfolk County, it's a bit of a mixture. Cooper,
He's gonna steal the show, so we just gotta run with it.
as long as he's just mad at Drew.
We were joking about having
I'm fine with
having a Cooper camera, because he usually hangs in his tree, and I bring his tree, and I might have
Why
to
don't
do
you
that.
GoPro him?
That's what we were thinking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know, almost like an eagle's nest that people,
Yeah.
you know how there's like a falcon family.
I feel like it's a little. It would be
Well, I
respectful
really
to him.
think you should have just made him his own drink. I think that's the problem.
I probably should have done that.
Now
He,
you know.
yeah, he might. You can shoe him because
Little.
he'll try it.
Well, I'm not above sharing with him. I have 2 cats, but
My concern is having a guest on that like hates cats, because I can't lock him out because he's so vocal.
listen, I think that's where you got to draw the line. Like, if you don't like cats,
You're
you're
not on the
you're not a good
podcast.
fit.
Yeah.
I like, yeah. I grew up with dogs. I never liked cats, but I didn't hate cats. I just didn't really care for them that much. But he's my little buddy.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
got to stay.
Yeah,
I think that's reasonable. It
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
I think so.
You gotta
Um,
trust people. But yeah, no, I don't think you have to. It's not like a common practice. I'm trying to think back in Norfolk County. So Mayor Luke, he was a ward counselor for the majority of his political career, and then stepped up to be mayor for 1 term. Former Mayor Crystal Chop was not, and I was. Dennis
How
Trevally was not.
how often are you communicating with all the wards? the
The ward
counselors?
counselors
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah, consistently. It's hard. Like, that's one of the things that I had to learn how to do a little bit better, is not just do the job as mayor, but also keep them informed. People, there's no real chain of command, right? Like, so if somebody has an issue, they might go directly to the ward counselor, or they might go directly to the mayor. And so I try to connect with them pretty regularly, keeping them up to speed on stuff, and vice versa. But yeah, we cross paths all the time, right? Like, so in council meetings and committee meetings. So there's lots of that.
How often are those meetings happening? Because that was one thing I liked about you, was you would post these meetings on Instagram, and I was like, I've never seen anyone do this before.
Yeah, it was nice.
And
to
I was
be able to
actually
see what's
watching
going
them, and it
on.
was and I was like, wow, I actually know what they're talking about, what they're voting, what they're vetoing on, and it was
I always wonder, like,
Yeah.
if there's a fine line between sharing too much and people clock out and they're like, I don't, tap, tap, tap and get it over with, but then sharing meaningful content. But then, you could easily be accused of kind of sharing your perspective or your position on an argument if you're not sharing the whole argument or giving the whole debate context. But,
one sec.
It's too good to
Keep talking
share,
to Drew. I'm
honestly.
gonna get his tree for him.
okay, bring the tree down. But yeah, so the meetings are 3 times a month, depending,
Okay.
but you can add more if you need them. And then you have all your committee meetings and community events and stuff. But council meetings, first 3 Tuesdays of the month.
Okay.
So if anyone's listening and you want to be a counselor or a mayor, like, actually, it's funny because I like to think of myself as a strategic thinker, and I'm creative and look at the glass half full. But I remember when people were encouraging me to run in 2017 for the 2018 election. I was like, I can't run. Like, I'm not retired. They're like, no, you don't have to be. But my lens of municipal politics was Norfolk County only. And at that time, it was all men. They were all retired. They were all had another income stream somewhere. And so the money they made being on council wasn't their livelihood. But I had never thought, oh, wait, maybe I could have a job and be on council. And you can. And I think that was evident in the last term of council and this term of council. We have working professionals who've joined us. So you definitely can have other employment and be an elected official, certainly in Norfolk County, based on the workload. It's not easy, but you can do it.
How much time as a ward counselor, like how much time out of the week are you dedicating to that position?
That's a great question. It's hard to answer because It ebbs and flows. It depends. In Norfolk County, one thing we do really well is celebrate everything. So you could be at like every community event and every, thing going on and build out your week and your schedule and go to AGMs and all the committee meetings. But really, it's what you put into it. You could also do the bare minimum. You could show up on a Tuesday to council and have not read your agenda, which I think happens. It certainly has happened before. Or you can spend your whole weekend reading the agenda, spend all day Monday connecting with staff to learn about it, ask questions, go in Tuesday, debate it. Wednesday, have your committee meetings. Thursday, go to community events. So it's really what you make of it.
Yeah.
But it, without a doubt, it is a part-time job.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, you are 20 hours.
But I don't know what the pay is, but I would assume you would also need another job.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
funny. I had a couple grade 4 classes from Walsh Public School come to council.
Oh, I saw you
They're
post
so
about
funny.
that. Yeah.
They're so funny. And they say the funniest things, right? Like they're so unfiltered. So we're in council chambers and they're putting their hand up and some of them are just like telling random facts like my mom's 36, but she looks 29. And I'm like, great for her. That's really great. Is there any questions though? And one of the kids are like, well, do you live in a mansion? Well, no, I live in a house, like just like you. What makes you think that? Well, because you've got so much money. And so like there's this misconception with all ages about income levels and so on, but the income for an elected official is public. It's well known. I know I should know this. My husband will kill me, but I'm around 80,000 a year.
So I'm
Councilors
familiar
are
with
much less.
I'm familiar with the Sunshine List. So I didn't know anything under 100,000 is public. I thought it was just over 100,000.
But as elected officials, we set a public budget
Ah,
with, public tax dollars. So everything's very transparent and recorded and accounted for.
yeah.
And then our wages get posted, and then any extras, like if we submit for kilometers or if I go away to conferences and so on, that's all published and put out for the public to see.
Has that adjusted with inflation at all, or has it?
It's such a good question. So yes and no. Over the last, don't quote me on it, it's maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, council did not increase their wages and their benefits. And I think that's the first thing that the public expects us to do, because there's a lot of this narrative of like, what do they even do? And they're overpaid and so on. But so for a few years there, it was the decision of council to not increase wages. And while I'm okay with coming in and knowing what my wage is, there's two things. One, I'm compensated more than counselors are. Am I there more? Is there more responsibility? I guess it could be argued, but there is a big wage discrepancy between what I earn and what they earn. And so I'm not really in a position to go in and put motions on the floor that says don't increase their wage. Compared to a lot of other municipalities, we earn a lot less. Like, again, you have to look up the numbers, don't quote me on it. But a few years ago, Haldeman County counselors are making $70,000. Our counselors are making 40.
Oh wow.
Like a pretty big discrepancy. And why that matters and why it should matter to people is, in my opinion, because who's going to take the job on if the wage isn't reflective of the work and the responsibility and the burden and the time away from your family and those types of things.
And I feel like they could dedicate more time to it because they don't feel so obligated to put time into another job.
Agreed.
Because there's bills and there's things that people need to
Yeah.
pay for. So
Yeah.
I get it.
And people should be compensated for their time. But so I think where this council has landed is that last year we didn't increase our wages. This year they went up, cost of living. And but I think maybe the answer for the public is when you're elected, this is your wage, this is what you're getting for 4 years. However, it should increase year over year. You might not be paid out, but the next term of council that comes in will see an increase in their wages so that we're not so far behind other municipalities. We're not so far under the cost of living. And it should be indexed year over year so that when that next term of council comes in, there's 4 years worth of increases there. And that's maybe one way to bridge the argument for people that we won't see the increase on ours. We'll come in knowing what we're paid, and we won't, because another argument is really, it's a bit icky for us to go in and set our own wages, debate our own wages, right? So that's a fair point. So, I think if we could set our wages, earn it for 4 years, but still see it indexed year over year, the next term of council could come in and know that they're not so far behind,
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's public dollars. You need to be transparent with them and accountable to them, but it's a lot of responsibility.
And how many members are there?
9, including me.
9.
8 council members and the mayor.
And what is that like for like Haldeman and other regions?
They're similar.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm trying to count off the top of my head.
Not that you have to.
There may be like 7.
Okay.
I think, and it's based on really population
Yeah.
size. So in 2019, we had a discussion about changing the representation around Norfolk County because of growing communities,
Mm-hmm.
and instead we changed the boundaries of the wards to balance out the populations in the wards, to balance out the number of people you're representing. But in Norfolk County, we've got 2 counselors for Simcoe. They have 11,000.
Because there's so many. Yeah.
Right.
Simcoe's the hub.
So that's the only one. But I mean, Dover's right on its heels, 7,000 people, one
Well,
counselor.
And is it not increasing? Like there's more
Yes.
development going in. So
Yeah.
that's insane. Like when I was there, well, like when I met you there, it was, I don't know what the population was, but it wasn't
Yeah.
nearly what it is now.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah. And yeah, we met before I ran, but then you helped me in 2018 when I ran for ward counselor.
Yep.
Shout out.
Yep. And I think we met through the wedding industry, no?
Yep.
Because you were wedding planning at the time
Yep.
and I was shooting video.
Yep.
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 And then you're like, I want to go into politics. Can you help me? I was like, sure. And here we are.
I honestly feel like, not to like toot our own horn on this one, but I feel like the way that I campaigned, and through your help, like with videos and professional photos and just creating a narrative and a message through modern media,
Mhm.
it leveled up campaigning. I
Yeah.
fundamentally, here anyways.
I agree. Like, I definitely saw a lot more of you over social media and everything. It seemed like a lot of a painted picture for sure.
It's pretty vital nowadays. Like even when I started working at Eco Ventures, that was kind of like the birth of like, do you remember the whole Pokemon craze and social media? Like Instagram Reels weren't even a thing then. Because I feel like I wouldn't have had a job because like without social media, that was my whole focus. My whole purpose was just like creating content.
Yeah.
But and now you're in politics and social media plays such a huge role. So you almost can't, like you can't afford not to lean into it.
I agree, but it is wild because 2018 I started, I'm like, I'm accessible. You can reach me. I want to put politics in the palm of your hand, on your phone, in your pocket,
Yeah.
make it easy for people to follow along. And now it's 2024 and it is a full-time job. And probably COVID right in the middle is a factor. And then the position that Norfolk County is in, like financially, we've got, tough decisions and that don't make everyone happy. But man, has Facebook changed.
Yeah.
Like it is not a friendly environment anymore. And just a few short years ago, it was something that I could leverage so well to connect with people. I use X, LinkedIn to share when appropriate about Norfolk, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, which I just don't have that much time for anymore. But Instagram is the place to be.
I feel like it's the millennial area because
Yeah.
I feel like it's my parents love Facebook.
Mhm.
My Nana loves Facebook and
Mhm.
she's 85. I love Instagram,
I love Instagram.
but I also love Instagram because it's so visual
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I do.
Yep.
So it works for me.
Yep.
Not much of an X user or Threads or anything
I
like
don't use
that
any
for that
of
matter,
that.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like you can see the different demographics, but you can also see like how they feel about the world. Not
There
to
is
be
definitely a lot more like drama happening on
Oof.
Facebook. I'll go to Facebook when I want to see
the drama.
the drama and see what's happening and see everyone argue on posts that,
Yeah.
and you just look at them and be like, what is this? Why does this
Well,
matter?
I also, I'm sure you're aware of this, but like bot farms and things like that, troll farms. Are you
Oh.
familiar with troll farms?
No.
And so it's like other government agencies will pay hundreds of people to make hundreds of profiles and just stir the shit online. So they're not real people. Sometimes they're robots, they're AIs or whatever, algorithms. Sometimes they're real people. But like I tell my parents that because like they're like, oh, did you see what this person said? Or my Nana, I'm like, this probably isn't a real person. You need to understand that. Like they're purposely doing this to piss you off because it gets attention.
So wait, what did you buy then? What part of this?
Hmm?
You bought a troll farm. What does that mean?
No. It's like competing governments. Let's say Russia, China.
Yeah.
They will have these things that are people call troll farms, and they'll just hire. It's like a factory of people just on social
Crazy.
media just to stir the shit.
I'm not okay. I'm not surprised that that happens. Like that
Yeah.
part's not surprising. I guess
And
the AI, the fake account. I don't know. I don't know why I'm shocked because I'm not surprised, but I'm just
like when you post
I
something,
can't.
when you post something that is, I don't know, controversial or not, people are 50-50. A lot of, I don't know, a lot of those people could be fake accounts. It's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think unfortunately in my case, I know a lot of the trolls are legit.
I was gonna say, I don't know how many ball farms are
Because
coming
you
after
probably
Norfolk
actually
County.
know some of the people
Yeah.
commenting because,
Yeah.
it's Norfolk County. And
Yeah, but that's interesting. And I guess like in my mind, I see a lot of that on Twitter.
yeah, I think it's more, I wouldn't say
X.
municipal politics, but I don't know. Who knows? Like you could tell, like you can click these accounts and you'll go and they'll have like nothing posted,
Yeah.
but they're commenting.
3 profile pictures they posted.
Well, like
Yeah.
not to get into this because I don't want to like have a position on it, but I don't know if you guys follow a lot of municipal stuff elsewhere, but there's a site on Facebook that came up on my Facebook as a sponsored ad called Ontario Proud. High level research, I could be wrong, but it looks like it's funded from a political party, a provincial or federal party, and it was running ads on the Haldeman County mayor recently. So that's like an upper level of government making an investment, a party, not an upper level of government, a party making an investment in
Municipal government.
municipal. It's a scary.
That is interesting.
It's scary too, right? You try to say like you're closest to the people, you're not associated with a party. You just, here's my platform, here are my values.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or otherwise, whatever the content was they were sharing about her, like that's irrelevant. It's just, it's interesting.
Yeah, I've had people ask who don't know really anything about politics, but like when you became mayor, like, oh, what political party? I'm like, it doesn't really matter. I've never actually asked her. She's
Yeah.
like, she's the mayor, so like she cares about Norfolk County. I
Yeah.
don't really, it's not about political parties.
I think it's a big misconception. When I would door knock, people would say that all the time.
Yeah, are you liberal
Yeah.
or what are you? And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, just
You support
running for
Trudeau,
mayor.
or what do you think about Pierre? And yeah, it's just it's a beautiful thing, really, because there's a lot of talk about being on the provincial level, being on the federal level, and having to like walk that party line.
Yeah.
And so making a vote that might harm someone or some program in your community, you don't have to do that. I just go in and I vote with my conscience and with what the best interest, and you're free.
So what's the communication between you as mayor and upper levels of politics?
I don't want to hit you with it.
I could just also correct my posture and sit up.
Oh,
No,
worries.
do what you want. That's all right.
Yeah, so that's a good question too, because it's so important for Norfolk that we have like dial in these relationships, because that is where the money and the funding is, and that is our biggest problem here in Norfolk. But provincially, we go to 2 conferences a year, big ones: ROMA, Rural Ontario Municipal Association, in January.
And is this you and all the councillors?
No, it could be, but we just don't have that much money. We don't
Got it.
budget for it. So myself and the deputy mayor, which changes every 6 months, so everyone gets a chance to go, and then the CAO joins us, Chief Administrative Officer. So, and then AMO is in August, which is the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. It's all 444 municipalities get together. And it's basically like speed dating. You apply for like a meeting with a ministry. So you want to meet with Minister of Municipal Affairs or, Minister of Natural Resources. And then you find out the week before who you got, when they are, what time they're at. And it's 15 minutes.
Oh,
That's
boy.
it.
15 minutes, and it's a closed door meeting, so you can really have some good conversations. Like you can
I'm picturing your notes right now in my head.
well, no, we leveled up. We put together a really cool package, a pamphlet. We've got pictures of locals in it. We talk about like our building successes, our financial troubles, and then in the back, it's this cross jurisdictional like, hey, we asked MNRF for this, but your Ministry of Parks and Rec, maybe you can help with it. So you can see what Norfolk's asked all the other ministries, because they're pretty stuffy, right? Like you can go in there and have your notes, or you can go and set this like banging document down where they're
Something
like,
they can
I haven't
take
seen
home
that.
too
Yeah.
as well. Like,
Hmm.
So we really try to deliver something different compared to other municipalities. But yeah, so you get these 15-minute meetings and you're like, hey, how are you? Good. Okay, here's what we need. Here's what we want. Here's how you can help. What do you think about that? But then I try to follow up when I'm back home. And I've been prioritizing, like one of my campaign, initiatives was to build relationships with everyone. I felt like that was sorely needed coming out of the last term of council. And that's where you're going to get support. That's where you're going to get funding, programs, services. And so it's been successful. Like last month, we had Minister Graydon Smith, Natural Resources, down at Norfolk County to make a funding announcement about gas wells.
I watched this.
Ooh.
You posted some of it.
Yeah. So cool, because that was an Ontario-wide program. Yes, Norfolk County got money. Wasn't that much. We've had more. They help us with the gas well. But I want to be the municipality that provincial ministers think of coming to make an announcement. They could have went anywhere in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
They came to Norfolk, and it's about time they do that.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty cool. They should be down here.
Can you explain to people what you're talking about when you say gas wells?
Yeah, crazy. Forestry Farm Road, we have a leaking gas well. So these are old, used back in the day to generate. Could have been used for heat on a farm, and it was the gas well industry. You would just drill on your private property, and long story short, many of them were capped. Sometimes they just stick a tree down to cap it, and then drop cement in. Other times,
It's like a wine bottle with cork,
yes, but worse.
but worse.
Did not age well.
oh no.
And so if you drive down Forestry Farm Road and you smell like that sulfur smell,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. 'Cause
yeah, it's bad. And so in Norfolk County, there's 2,500 in Norfolk County, 25,000 across Ontario, capped gas wells or abandoned gas wells, I should say.
Wow. I knew there was a lot of natural gas wells here, but I didn't realize to that extent.
And we
beyond.
have over $1 million invested in fixing ours. So this is a massive problem for the province.
Yes.
Massive. But it's actually kind of a unique story as we learn more and more about it, because we can't find the well to cap the well or to make a relief well or whatever the case is. And long story short, Norfolk County bought a parcel of private land years and years and years ago to straighten out a road when they were doing road reconstruction. That parcel that we purchased was private property, and that's where the gas well was.
Of course.
So now Norfolk County owns the gas well.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's no one else to trace it back to hold them accountable on it. And I don't know if anyone knows, Wheatley a couple years ago had a gas well explosion right downtown in their community. So
Scary.
health and safety concerns. For
Yeah.
sure.
Like, obviously, my brain's like, oh, what happens if you don't plug these? But I'm like, my brain's like, well, Drew, it's gas.
Yeah.
So, boom.
And in our situation, it's, connected to Big Creek. So there's an environmental concern.
Mhm.
And yeah, there's no fun. There are neighbors in really close proximity that are, have been living by it and smelling it, and there are health concerns with that. And some science would argue you could just plug it, find it and plug it, but it could create a whack-a-mole effect because that pressure has to go somewhere. And there are wells, they're all over.
If it's on private property, like, whose responsibility is it to fix that?
The landowner, for the most part, if it's on private property, but sometimes you can go back and try to, track the company that originally drilled it or capped it. But a lot of it goes through the Abandoned Works provincial program, because there's some level of recognition that you bought your house out back. There's an old well you weren't aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Now this could cost you everything. And you have to think about even the residents that live by the wells now. They don't have it on their property, but what has that done to their property value? What has that done to their mental health? What has that done, to a lot of different factors? So it's a big problem, and it's going to be a provincial problem.
Is it? I would assume it's expensive to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and Norfolk County, again, go back to relationships. We have the provincial government right now funding all the work that's happening on our well. They've never seen anything quite like it in typical Norfolk County fashion. We've got the problem child well, but that we have their support. They're spending their time, their resources, over $1 million on it right now. And then they released that funding announcement, and that's for us to buy monitoring for the well to give to nearby residents. We can do an education campaign with the public and a bunch of other things. But yeah,
What a conundrum.
you got it.
And how many are in our county?
About 2,500.
Just 2,500.
Just 2,500.
Not a big deal.
Of the 25,000. Some of them are underwater. It's very
I
interesting.
also-
There's a cool map.
I knew this. Mhm.
Add the map now to the
Hmm.
podcast screen.
Are there any in the lake?
Yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Allegedly, I'm not the expert on this, but allegedly they're like piped and capped and whatever differently, because you obviously have to take the whatever you were pulling out of the well, and you had to pipe it inland at some point in time anyway. So it had like a very clear path to get to land.
Yeah.
So it's easier to manage, I suppose, but less of a problem. But
That's another interesting topic for me, because we have a municipality that like technically borders with a foreign government. On the other side of this lake is America. How does that work? Because we share a lake. We can both pollute the lake equally.
yeah.
And
Sad answer is it doesn't work. Like there's no, on the municipal level, there's no dialogue, there's no
really,
conversation. I'm not sure I can't speak to the federal level. I know there's a lot of legislation around it, but you're right, we're so impacted. But I think a really neat position of that would be industry, economic development, tourism that we haven't leveraged. Having that lake there, having that access to the states. You can look at what industry would be able to ship out like boats or ferries.
because you can see them at night. Like,
Yeah.
you can see the other side.
I know.
We're much closer than people think.
I know. Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
I think it's like a couple hour boat ride over to Erie, Pennsylvania. Not far.
Yeah, because I always just resetting, Drew.
Oh yeah, she's good.
Do you want to just peek at my camera just to make sure? Second podcast, we're fixing out
through it.
we're fixing out the bugs. Yeah, I was always curious about that, because it's like, if Michigan decides to just dump a bunch of stuff in the lake, like that's gonna affect our municipality,
Yeah.
and we have a rural biosphere here.
Interesting. Just gave me a little side tangent thought here, but we were looking at some documentation, and Ontario thinks that our landfills will be maxed out by, I think it's 2034. So like there's so much waste that we take to the States as well. But landfills in Ontario, even like there's so many environmental concerns, and everything just feels like it's done really piecemeal. Focus on Norfolk only when there maybe should be a regional approach to a lot of things.
Yeah, and our generation is really like put into the position of like, oh, we need to figure solutions out like right now.
Long term, not short term.
Did you get a food cycler?
No, I didn't. I
I saw you post about, so there's like rebates for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's I thought it was, how much did you still have to buy it though?
You still had to buy.
Okay.
Yeah, you still had to buy, but it was half off. And then you
was
own
it?
it when you're done.
Because I just saw the pictures, and the picture made it look like it was kind of just like a bin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could get one of these off Amazon. Or are these like actual like?
No.
Oh, these are the.
Yep.
Fuck, I fucked up.
And sorry, go ahead.
We were looking at getting a Lomi
Yeah.
because
These
we
were-
hate throwing
and-
our food scraps in the garbage, but we just don't have.
So if
Anywhere
you
to put
got
'em.
the biggest one, the biggest food cycler, half off, you still would have paid $300. I think a Lomi's like $4 or something.
Yeah.
And I, born and raised in Hamilton, so I grew up
Green
with
bin,
the
boy.
green bin system.
Do you miss it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Did you use it a lot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had a full green bin the size of a garbage bin. And
This is so exciting for me. Like I nerd out over.
Yeah, I
this.
remember when, was it even before Mayor? Was it? Yeah, you were talking about it like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But
And then I
it's-
turned into a crazy COVID lady, and I started gardening in my backyard. And then I started growing my plants from seeds.
Oh,
and
hardcore.
Literally since 2020, I have a full greenhouse in my backyard
Oh,
now.
I
Like,
love that. Love that.
I made it.
Ooh.
So
Self-sustainable.
I started composting. I have like an upright composter, and I'm obsessed with it because then I want that for my garden and love it, really enjoying it. But these food cyclers will help us get the ball started on just seeing like across Norfolk where there's uptake, where people are obviously interested in it because they've made a financial investment, how much food waste we can divert from the landfill, which saves us money because we pay to send waste by weight. So if we're diverting the amount of waste we send to the landfill because people are using food cyclers, green bins, compost, whatever it is, we're saving tax dollars. So
And I don't think people realize like what, at least in the green system in Hamilton, like you can almost throw anything that you would consume goes in there.
yeah,
Eggshells, bones,
I
like
had no idea about the
everything.
bones and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Just-
keep all that in our freezer right now
Oh, okay.
Somebody else said that to me
because
though.
we don't have a green bin.
Yeah.
So it's in our freezer, and then on garbage day we have to throw it out.
Yeah. Somebody else said that to me, and then they pull it all out and they make like stocks and soups and
Oh,
whatever.
Well, that
like,
sounds way better than what I do.
yeah, but I mean, still, like, if it's going in the garbage, I
It's
guess
going in
that's
the garbage. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, we're Ontario's garden. That someone named us that,
Mhm.
and we don't have green bin. We don't have compost.
Yeah.
we
Why don't we?
Well,
Just budget.
it's expensive. So, but municipalities have to look into it this year by 2024. And so we're going to put a plan together. We'll see how much it costs. But commonly people think that Norfolk Disposal is Norfolk County, and it's not. That is a contracted business, separate entity.
It's private.
It's private. And they have the contract for our garbage right now, which is great. Local business, good for them. Currently, their trucks are not outfitted for green bin pickup. So we need to look at our contract. We need to see,
There's a whole new system that needs to be put in place.
it's so much bigger than just us
just-
saying.
Dollar signs is what I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
It's very, very expensive.
And
But-
that's up to us. Like there's no subsidies from, the province or anything like that.
Not that I'm aware of, but there might be coming because they're telling us to investigate it, to look into it, and they know that our landfills are, adding up. But I've talked to community members and ag members and Brett Schuyler, and at one point in time, he was driving to Hamilton to source compost.
I did know this.
Crazy to bring back and put on his farm to enrich the soil and have better growing seasons. And I just that blew my mind. He lives in Norfolk County. He's ahead of the edge. He's so innovative. He's so creative. And he was going into the Hamilton area to source out compost and buying it. So imagine if Norfolk County could
Just-
lower our property
yeah.
taxes by encouraging people to compost and then sell that off
Yeah.
Makes
and
a lot of sense.
be Ontario's garden, because we are.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes people are like, "What do you grow there?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't ask me
Everything.
that. I could start now, but
Yeah.
the
I know
list
there's
is
a
huge."
map. When I worked at Bell, there's a map inside, and it had like all like the list of like, oh, we're like number 2 in Canada for this, number
Yeah.
1, like a massive list.
Number one for pumpkins, tart cherries,
Apples,
ginseng,
like
apples.
insane.
It is wild. And I didn't know this, but I connected actually Brett with a new couple to Norfolk County. They moved to Ontario. They live in Waterford. They now own and operate the McDonald's.
Oh, nice.
And they had some questions about some international employees and so on. So connected them with Brett. And then she followed back up to chat with me about it and say, thanks so much for connecting us. And did you know that we serve his apples in the Happy Meals?
Oh,
No way.
I
that's
didn't know
nice.
that.
No way.
How full circle is that?
I
A
mean, it
Norfolk
would-
County farmer.
Yeah, it would make sense because it's like, why not source it closer to, I don't know, like you're
Where
right here.
I
so-
don't even know if that's even what it is. I think that Brett is so
Big.
big and cool and smart and ahead of his time that he has a contract with McDonald's, and we just so happen to have a McDonald's. But
Yeah.
I didn't know
His
that,
apples
and
are in
he's
a lot of McDonald's.
and he's humble, and he would never say it. So now I said it, but yeah, like how cool is that? And she knew no one in the community, and they had this meeting, and it was just full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Cool stuff happening here.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of flying a drone over his orchard. So,
He would be so great to bring out here.
he's on my list.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
yeah.
a smart cookie.
Yep, I photographed him and I've been to his farm.
Cool.
He's also great with all the offshore workers. Like he built them a custom soccer field.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No,
He built a soccer field for them for when they come here.
I'm not surprised.
And I was like, this is amazing.
The soccer game every
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah.
his guys, they kill me. They're so funny. I love going to watch have you been to it?
No, I have not. I think my sister went.
You have to go. Anyone who's listening, you have to go.
They are ridiculously good.
I know nothing about soccer but I can tell you that level of athleticism and skill it's crazy. It is so easy to watch. It's really, really fun. But his guys, they show up, they come on a bus, they get off the bus, they bring a bunch of quite frankly, junk with them. Like there's an old garbage can and they flip it over and there's like something from the inside of a tire, and then they pull out drumsticks and they start to play and make their own music to support their team while they're
Aw.
playing, and it's good.
Love that.
And I was watching them last year, and the one guy was so fired up, and he was like, yelling. He was from Skylar Farms, but there's so many farms there, and he was like, encouraging people to just play dirty and play, making songs out of it and break their legs. But it's all good and fun. It's not rough soccer, and it is outstanding. Farms of Norfolk.
I saw one at one of the fairground festivals. I think it was.
Yeah.
They were
That's right.
playing in the sand there,
Yes.
and that was really
I was
exciting.
confused about that, but I
Yeah.
liked it. But I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
there's a soccer game in the middle of all this.
On the sand
Chaos
pitch.
and-
Yeah.
They were right behind our folk bus. That's what.
That's right.
Yeah, so I would just watch them from there.
That was the Fairground Festival, the Amplify.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, very cool. So go to the Farms of Norfolk, and there's food trucks, and it's great.
All right, and where is this located?
That's at the West Street soccer pitch field.
Okay,
and it's
yes.
in August-ish.
Okay.
I usually share it on my socials, but
I've driven by and I saw it and I was like, what's going on? And then someone explained it to me. So.
yeah, it's like the least we can do also to support community members that come to Norfolk County that are not from here, like, international and temporary farm workers.
Can we touch on that a bit? Because
Yeah.
there's definitely some people who don't live here who are probably listening to this. Like, what is an offshore worker?
So I'm probably not the best person.
I
to
mean,
give a
I can-
definition.
I can do it if you want,
You jump
I
in
mean,
there and I'll fill you.
just because I have some friends here.
Please.
But at least my friends are from Jamaica,
Mhm.
Dale, Kenny, and Fillmore,
Yeah.
who work at the winery.
Yeah.
And they come here 6-7 months out of the year. The government subsidizes a little bit, but like the winery, my understanding, pays for their flights, gets them here, and then they make a living
Yeah.
because there's not a lot of opportunity where they are. So they come here.
Yeah. So temporary farm workers, temporary foreign workers, so many different names for them nowadays. But you're right. They're from all over. They're from Trinidad.
Trinidad, yeah,
and,
Jamaica, Mexico.
Jamaica, yep.
Yeah.
And they are skilled at what they do. They, in my opinion, do work that a lot of us Ontario residents aren't doing, wouldn't do.
Wouldn't do, yeah.
You know what I mean? And they work
Hard
long
work.
days, and they're dedicated, and they bring money back home to their families. But typically, they come to the same farms for the same window of duration, year after year after year, and they become part of a family in most cases. And it's really, really cool to see because they also have historic knowledge that carries over as farms change as well. But we are one of the largest communities, second to Leamington, or maybe we're just above them, for temporary foreign workers in a short window here in Norfolk County. And, we're in the middle of a housing crisis, but our farmers house them in bunkhouses. Or you look at, Brett's initiative in Port Dover with the bed and breakfast and other creative solutions, but they really keep our economy going, and they sacrifice so much because they're away from their families, they're away from their home communities. They spend months at a time away, and they're working hard. So back to the soccer, I really think it's like the least we can do to go and support them. They're an economic engine in our
Yes.
community. You go
Yes.
downtown Simcoe, and you look at them spending money in the stores, at the grocery stores, walking about in the restaurants.
And like just the cuisine
I was
as
gonna
well.
say downtown Cinco has a lot of good food now.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Got, like, a
like
really good Jamaican spot, a few
Yeah.
good Mexican spots.
yeah.
yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
yeah. And like to have the tough conversation. Like there's a stigma attached to going downtown on a Friday night in Simcoe, because they're gonna be there at the banks, and like, you gotta be kidding me.
They're
You
so
gotta
friendly,
be kidding
though.
me.
I have a funny story, but sorry,
Yeah.
Mom, I'm gonna oust you right now. But she used to go in on a Friday when she couldn't buy alcohol, and she would be like, "Hey, like I'll get you this if you to the offshore workers if you go and get me, a case of beer." And then she would go to a party, blah blah.
Yeah.
So she'd go in on Fridays,
Oh.
make some friends.
She's an entrepreneur.
yeah, yeah.
She's found
Simcoe,
something
born
there.
and raised.
Yeah,
Mom, yeah.
good
mhm,
for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really like that narrative, and I look at a lot of businesses that are closed and their doors aren't open and through certain hours of the day and certain days of the week, and I think, man, there is a market here. What other downtown that is asking for a revitalization across Ontario has an influx of this many people on this day from this time to this time with cash in their pocket?
Yeah.
It's
An
a party.
opportunity.
And they'll buy and ship things, you know,
Yes.
back to Jamaica that like Fillmore's daughter is really into Walmart because they don't have Walmart
Yeah.
where they are. So she's like, "What do you want for Christmas?" Like, anything from Walmart. So me and
Aw.
Ash will go and we'll buy her like T-shirts that have the Walmart tag, so
Oh
she
my
can like
gosh.
draw on them, and then she'll
Cool.
send us pictures.
Aw.
And
Yeah,
But,
I feel
like-
the same way about Target, actually.
Yeah,
in the States.
yeah. But it's like you don't even, you know, it's just Walmart. But to them, it's like, hey, yeah, it's like a very Americanized thing. Like,
Yeah.
get me something from Walmart.
Yeah, very cool. So, you know, creates opportunities for us here in Norfolk for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah, and they're such great people. Like, I just, yeah.
And it
Yeah.
is a party on like who is organizing those Friday nights in downtown Simcoe? Is that the county or is that
no, I can't remember the name of it. Her name's Leanne. I think she's partnered, does some work with Brett and his group, but I think it's I can't remember the name of their group, but it kind of started in COVID, I think.
yeah.
When people were concerned with, you know,
They're
farm-
doing like the brick parking lot and the
Yes.
old LCBO parking lot. And
yeah,
they had food trucks
and maybe the BIA
stages.
jumped in on it
I think
as
so.
well. Yeah.
But it
But
is
that was-
really fun, like, because then it just feels more welcoming that anyone can just run in and
Yeah. And I
hang
think
out.
if people build relationships with, you know, with these guys and women, that also can take some of the stigma away.
100%.
Yeah.
I know my sister was there doing portraits for a bit there,
Cool.
so she had a lot of cool stories talking
Yeah.
to them and
Yeah. No, it's really, really cool. So, yeah, it creates a really cool opportunity for Norfolk County, and we thrive on, you know, our history and our heritage and our culture. And man, when I was door knocking in Delhi, that is a diverse community of people who, you know, seniors who moved here years and years and years ago and like immigrated and chose to come in Delhi and farm or work on a farm, and then they've stayed here. So you look at like the Hungarian Hall and the Polish Hall and the Belgian Club, which isn't there anymore, and the German home, and
Mhm.
it, because it's so rich in culture and we pride ourselves on that, yet we just see a different type of culture here helping us sustain a way of life that we're used to, farming, but it's not always well received. So I struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could touch on this, but like, oftentimes, you know, my friends who come here from Jamaica, one of them wanted to buy something on Facebook Marketplace, and he wanted Ashley to come with him because he just wasn't sure, because it was in Delhi, how they would feel about a black man coming up to the door at night, and he felt uncomfortable, so he asked one of us to do it, and I was like, that breaks my heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I met with a gentleman and his wife who were newer to Norfolk County, but had been around for a few years, raising a family here. And he told me that when he goes to the grocery store, people will ask him where he's from when he goes back to his family. And so I think Norfolk County residents think they're being inclusive and kind, but because of the color of his skin, he's asked, you know, what farm he's working on.
Just them asking that separates him.
Yeah.
Even asking the question.
He's like, I'm born and raised in Toronto. I moved here with my family.
Yikes.
Yeah. I don't want to paint, you know, for anyone who's listening and thinks, you know, because you guys are going to blow up and your podcast is going to be viral.
The whole community is not like this.
No.
There's older generations
Yes.
that, you know,
Yes.
are still like that.
Amazing farm establishments where truly, like, I think of Amanda and Hayden Dooney.
Oh, I love them.
Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
those workers are they're family members. That's
Yeah.
Or you know, spent some time. You came out with me. Actually, went to Jay Ryder's farm. Remember that lunch we had when we did photos?
Yes.
And the Jamaican Minister of Agriculture was
Yes.
there,
Yep.
and that meal they
Yep.
had, and we shared lunch like in the same room with all of the guys.
I sat beside him.
There you go.
Yeah. Had lunch with him.
And so there are, you know, many farmers who
it's normal for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not all of Norfolk, but it is still a factor.
It is. Yeah. That's all right. Well, the next generation's coming up, and I know
They are.
not to like pick on the older generation, but yeah. Well, anyways, it's great to have them here, and I'm excited that they're coming back soon because it's come April. My friends come back,
Yeah.
and I get to see them and ask them how they're doing. So
And they miss the worst time of the year.
yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. Like,
Yes.
Yes. They got it going on. They figured
Yeah.
it out.
Although he'll text us sometimes. I'm like, hey, like, what's it like? He's like, oh, it's 40 degrees. I'm like, oh,
Oh.
wow.
well, it is funny because you will see them working in the fields like when it's hot, and they'll have like their toques and sweaters
Yes.
on, and you're like, what?
Yes.
But yeah, just not acclimatized to it.
Nope.
I guess it's 20 degrees is cold to them.
Yep.
Yeah. And Fillmore in particular, he's gotten into like drones and stuff because I've been flying them there over the years. So whenever I get a new one, I give him my old one.
Cool.
And he brings it back to Jamaica, and he's like the only one in his
Oh,
kind of
get out.
community
Oh,
that has it.
nice.
And he's like, taking pictures for people
So
and
does
making
he?
money.
I was gonna
and-
say, has he like monetized it?
Yeah, he'll take pictures of like construction, and so they can kind of see what's going on. But there's the regulations there are like they're next to nothing.
Yeah.
So he could just do whatever he wants.
That's amazing. And like I don't know if you've ever thought of it this way, but like the trickle down effect of that one guy coming here to work, met you gift him that, and he's able to go back home and turn it into a job, turn it into money, turn it into something that betters him. And like, not to be mushy, but circling back, like that's like the reason why I do what I do. Like, it's not the pay, it's not to identify who's an AI troll on social media so I can have a running list in my head. Like, it's because you want that feeling, like
Yeah.
the level of fulfillment of just, everybody deserves opportunities, I guess is what
yeah,
I'm
and I
getting at.
love this place, and I just want people to love it too.
Yeah.
Simply put.
That's,
Yeah, I'm excited to have them back.
that's cool.
Yeah, I do miss them. They're great guys. Shout out to Kenny Fillmore and Dale.
Think they'll watch the pod?
Who knows?
Probably.
Maybe. Yeah, they probably will.
You'll tell them what you've been up to, and
Yeah,
they'll be like, oh,
I'll send it to them.
yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. Fillmore's on Facebook.
Well, send it to them and don't tell them they're in it, and see if they circle back.
Oh,
see,
yeah.
Then
I
you'll know
see.
if they watched
I
it or
won't
not.
mention that I
Watched it or
mentioned
just
them.
lied. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any particular parts you liked?
Yeah.
All of it.
Oh my god! And I invited them to my wedding, and I saw them trickle in at the end, and they're like, "Oh man, like we thought it was the next day. They got the day wrong, and they were working, and they saw the guests. Were like, oh no!" And they ran to the bunk. He got dressed,
Aw.
trailed in. I was like, "Guys, it's okay. No worries. Like you're busy. I get it."
And you weren't far. Oh boy, you
He's
weren't
being
far.
sassy.
So
Um,
sure.
There you go. Yeah. How we doing for time? Do you have to? Yeah, I gotta
I'm good.
go? Okay.
I have to be at the home opener and at 4:15 at the home show.
Oh, what is that? Because I've seen it being posted everywhere, and I am confused.
It is Simcoe Chamber of Commerce event. It's something that they've revitalized and brought back, but I don't really know. But it's like guest speakers are coming, keynote speakers, and then a bunch of working professionals from the area, like developers and real estate agents and mortgage brokers and like Simcoe Flooring. They all have booths inside the Odd. So it's the home show. You go for things for your home.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
saw someone post about that.
yeah. It's
Don't
this
have one of those
whole
yet,
weekend.
I kind of. I have a half type of. I have a house. It's just
Yeah.
can't live in it. Yeah.
We're living. Yeah, you podcast in it though.
You could podcast in
Yeah.
it.
We should do
How
that.
would the acoustics be?
Terrible.
A little echoey.
Yeah. That's why I had to put sound panels on the roof and double carpeted it up, and
The setup is legit.
yeah,
You guys are going places.
it took a while, and then like I was like, oh no, I need this, and okay, we're ready. Oh no, I need this, and you just keep adding shit. It's just never ending.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it's
Fun though.
Yeah, we weren't sure when we were gonna pull the trigger and just kind of do it. And I was like, you know what? We just got to get the reps in.
Yeah,
we just
get
got
the
to
reps
do
in.
it. Like the
That's
right.
first
Yeah.
couple episodes aren't gonna be super smooth.
Yeah.
But
Well, how about this? Tell me about the podcast. Like, what is the goal? You just want to talk about like things you guys are into, or what's?
no, I'm just very interested in other people.
Oh,
I wish I could live 1,000 lives and do something different in each life, but I only have one life, and I've chosen to be into photography and film. But like politics interests me, like all sorts of things interest me. But
that's deep.
yeah, I can kind of
I like
live
it.
precariously through you, to see what it would be kind of like to be a mayor, but I'm not going to be mayor. Sorry, buddy.
Now you don't have to be because
Now we know. Now Norfolk knows.
Amy's got it.
yeah,
Aw. What about
Um,
you? What do you want to? Why are you podcasting?
I'm along for the ride. Drew asked me if I would help him, and I said yes.
I was
I've
gonna.
learned so much from Drew in the past few years, so I just kind of keep.
We've bonded over the years.
I'm under his wing, learning.
Ah.
He's been helping me film like almost everything.
Yeah.
We shot about 5 huge commercials with a big film crew
Oh, get
all over
out.
the place, and he was my assistant director on all of
Yeah,
them.
you had a big Friday the 13th gig, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that too.
was
We
a
sh-
whole nother thing.
we shot
too.
for Ontario. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Shot for Ontario Tourism,
we did a lot in the end of the year. It was a very busy
Yeah.
last few months.
and it's still not done. I'm still in post production, but it's getting there.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah. But I was gonna call this podcast this anyways because everybody's like, when I introduce myself, I'm like, "Hey, I'm Drew." The typical answer I get is that short for Andrew? And I go, "No, just Drew. Just Drew." To the point where my father-in-law calls me JD now. So
Oh, it's
Yeah.
funny because my husband is Andrew. He's Drew, but
He's a fake Drew.
Yeah.
Fake Drew.
he's
Oh.
he's an authentic Andrew. Is
Yeah.
what he is.
Yeah,
and
true, yes.
so his parents, like when we started, so I've known him for forever, but his mom taught me grade 4. We went to different schools, and he was just always Andrew. And then his mom was calling him Andrew, so I started calling him Andrew when we first started dating, and I introduced him to my family as Andrew. And then one day, I guess I finally dropped a Drew in front of my family, and they all were like, "Oh, thank God! Like, can we call him Drew? Like, it's just so formal."
this
And
AN is too much.
yes, and I don't know why, but like his mom made it a thing, so then I thought it had to be a thing, and it was just too much. It was too much. So professionally, he's Andrew, but
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know
he's
that.
Drew.
Andrews would do that.
yeah.
But he prefers Drew.
Yeah, I think I think he doesn't care, to be honest. Actually, and like sometimes I'll even toss out an Andy.
Oh, when he's feeling like a little.
That gives me
saucy
like
or
cowboy vibes, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
'Cause maybe Toy Story, but
Toy
Yeah.
Story. That's exactly what I thought when I heard
Yeah.
Andy.
So no, and I think it was my nephew who was just like, he was little at the time, and he was like, "Oh, like we just call him Drew." I'm like, yeah. I don't know what it is with Andrew / Drew, but like it matters to people. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Drew's not a common name. It's like I don't know besides my uncle, but
Yeah.
but then yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I was like, well, you know, we're kind of vibing. You want to do this with
Just Drew. Drew's only.
me? Mm-hmm. We should do a Drew's only podcast once a year.
yeah.
We'll have 2 Drew
Ooh.
guests.
Well, you could
I-
you could have Andy.
I don't. Is that?
Well, you
But
can
we
call him
might-
whatever you
we'll allow
want.
it.
We'll
yeah.
allow it.
He has cool stories.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring him in.
I was gonna do that once upon a time. I have a diploma in policing.
Oh, I knew that. I knew that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh yeah, you have to really love this.
Tough line of work.
Tough line of work, and honestly, I don't think I could get past the whole trauma aspect of it.
Yeah.
My dad's a paramedic. I hear
Yes.
things, and he tells me stories, and I'm like, I don't think I would come back from that.
I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, especially in a small community like ours where you end up knowing
Know
people.
everyone. Yeah.
Or you know somebody who knows somebody, and
well, yeah, I had a friend pass away. Would have been, I don't know, 2015, 16. But my other friend was almost called to it because he's a volunteer firefighter,
Oh,
and he
man.
would have saw his friend.
oh, yeah, it's hard enough not being there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's something that would. Yeah. I mean, first responders, they got my respect, and it's a tough job, but it's important.
they saved my cat, so I mean, yeah,
Did you have a sticker in the window?
no.
A
I need
sticker
to
in
get the
window?
sticker. You
Is that like
know,
a
like if there's a
I have
fire, it's
pets,
like
save my
two,
pets? Really?
two, yeah.
It's a thing.
Aw, that's cute.
But I do, like, I've developed a plan. Like, if there's anything that ever happened, like, I'm grabbing my cats and I'm throwing them in my car, and then,
That was my plan, but I couldn't get into the house because there was so
Oh.
much smoke. Open the door, like to the point where like you can't see the mat on the floor where you put your shoes. That's like how much smoke there was. So I was like, if I go in there, I'm gonna die.
talk about trauma, though. That's traumatic.
Yeah,
Like, that's your house. That's your safe space. That's, like, all of your things, you know?
yeah. And we've officially been here longer than the house we own.
Wow. Wild.
Pretty crazy.
I'm glad that you were able to find a spot and stay in Norfolk.
Yeah,
It's
nice,
ni-
nice
I-
close in Simcoe too.
I like Simcoe. It's close. I can walk to the coffee shop. The gym's close. Yoga's close. Like
Yeah.
everything's so close.
Yeah.
And then I play sports in Hamilton and things, so it's also convenient.
Yep.
But I like Langton.
Yeah, no, I for sure. I think if I didn't live, I might get in trouble for saying this, but if I didn't live in Dover, I think I'd live in Waterford.
Waterford's nice.
It's coming up.
It's coming up, and shout out to Wishbone Brews.
Mm-hmm.
There, yeah.
Like,
Amy, you gotta come to Sunday night trivia.
no, you don't want me to come. I'm
Are
not
you
very
too
good.
oh, I was gonna say
I'm
either
very competitive, and I'm
Oh.
not good at it. So it's a double whammy for me to lose. But
Like kind of flip the board and make
Yeah,
a big deal out of
yeah,
losing.
yeah,
I can see that.
I like to win.
People are like, who is this girl? Don't worry about
I
it.
just stay in my lane where the things, I know I'm going to have a high likelihood of bringing home a W. And
I have so much useless information in my head that I can't apply to every day. So it's perfect.
if it was like movie quotes, movie character, whatever, my husband would nail it. We did one with some friends at Mustard and Relish before it closed, and it was Wishbone who did it. And I can't remember what the question was. Essentially, the answer was penguin, okay? It
Okay.
wasn't. It was a specific kind of bird that is identical to a penguin in the penguin family. It was so specific, the answer. And I just,
Oh, those things out East Coast. You want to look that up? They can fly, but they look like penguins.
I
and
think-
I'm
yeah.
blanking on the name. I'm pretty sure they're on the East Coast of Canada.
But Nancy in my office, who I love dearly and is a Norfolk County just champion, she goes with her husband to Concession Road all the time. And she texted me after she went a couple weeks ago, and she goes, the tiebreaker question was the three chipmunks.
Oh no.
What's the other name? And it was Alvin and Theodore.
Yeah, those are two of the three.
Do you got the third? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Oh, Alvin Theodore Chip? No?
No, it's Simon.
Oh, Simon.
And
that's
I knew
right.
that like right away. So I was like,
Simon.
maybe I just had a bad experience one time. Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
What
Back
is
to
it?
the
Do you want
penguin.
to pull that over on the TV?
Puffin?
What is that? Oh, a puffin.
No, it wasn't a puffin.
Was it a puffin?
Wasn't a
Wasn't a puffin?
puffin. I think very,
Puffins do kind of look like penguins, though.
very upsetting.
I can't think of it then.
Anyways, I don't want to lose, and I definitely don't want to lose on a technicality.
You know what Tyler was doing from Wishbone the other day? He was using AI to it was a different artist singing another artist's song.
Yeah.
So it was like Michael Jackson singing Miley Cyrus, but you
Okay.
have to guess the artist and the song.
Wow.
And it's twisty in your mind because
Yes.
you hear Michael Jackson, but you're like,
yes.
this isn't Michael Jackson, but why is this so familiar?
Yes.
Mind-boggling.
It would be firing on different neurons for sure.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of AI, I
Do you want to just check that?
think it's so interesting, and I don't know, like everybody has a different opinion on. Still rolling. Wow, impressive. A different opinion on AI,
Mhm.
especially like in the workforce, and
Does it scare you? Scares me.
Are we going to have an AI mayor?
yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't gone that far down the rabbit hole with it, but like Chat GPT, are you kidding me?
We
Helpful.
have it. We have
Are
it up.
you
It's
kidding?
right there,
And
just in case we need it.
and I was chatting with a counselor about this, and we were just talking about efficiencies and staff, and being conscious of the tax dollar and so on. And so him and I were chatting about the communications department and does it use it. And I said, I don't know if they use it, and we both were in agreement. Yeah, they should be using it. How great would that be to save time and be efficient? And so there's an AI generator that you can check if it's been used. And I can confirm Norfolk County communications team does not use ChatGPT.
Oh, no.
I know.
But they should be. Is that what the...
I think so,
yeah.
but I don't know.
I use it.
Like,
use it.
as an example, on my work phone, we had to take TikTok off because it can't be on government phones. Is that like
Oh, don't
with AI on a
China?
government device?
don't send me down a rabbit hole, but I will go down there if you want me to.
Well, like, is AI in the same category? Should it not be on a government device?
It de-
Oh.
I
I
feel
don't know.
like it depends what government or what private entity developed it. TikTok is a Chinese platform. So like my understanding is if you go into back of TikTok, like they're recording keystrokes. So if you put in passwords on your government phone, TikTok has those keystrokes.
I like to just live like in denial, blissfully
And-
ignorant.
Yeah.
And is TikTok a private company? Yes, but every private company in China, it's not a democracy, right? It's not
Yes.
it's It's a little different. So if the government wants data from TikTok, all they have to do is ask, and TikTok can't say no. Whereas in a democracy here, there's legislation and
Right.
there's red
Privacy,
tape
yeah.
and privacy and things that the government has to go through to get that information, but not China.
So safe to say you're not on TikTok.
I do not have TikTok on my phone, but we might have to just get it for the podcast reasons, just
Oh,
marketing. Like,
yeah, you'd be
Blasted
missing.
everywhere.
You'd be missing a whole.
yeah. The plan is to make money with this podcast, so I can keep doing the podcast.
Yeah. So you're looking
Um,
for sponsors. What
yeah.
does that look? How do you make money on a
You
podcast?
just have to justify the viewership. So I probably won't be able to get sponsors until I can prove that I have a significant viewership. I don't know what,
significant. Do you know?
5,000 an episode maybe, which
I think we can get there.
doesn't. It sounds like a lot, but it's not.
No.
You can get there. So it was actually Drew's idea to have the first 10 guests all Norfolk County based,
Uh-huh.
so we can build a local
Audience.
kind of community audience
Right.
first, and then start branching.
And then we can drink local beers on the show.
Yeah.
And
We've been giving all these shout outs for free. Bleep, go back. Bleep all the shout outs.
Amy, want to pull that big drawer open there?
This one?
Yeah,
Is this a fridge?
it is. Do you want to?
Oh
It's a
my
puppy.
gosh.
Do you want to pass me a local beer? Because why not?
yeah, this is your which one?
There's
are-
also
we're gonna shout out?
non-alcoholic drinks in there. So Drew or Amy.
We're not.
Well, if I wasn't going back to work, that's what I'd be drinking. So you can
Okay,
have this
I'll
one.
have that one.
That's a shout out from the mayor for Charlottesville.
Yeah, Charlottesville Brewing. I'm drinking the local.
Do you need a bubbly on your
5
75
I
hour?
would love a bubbly, a buble.
This is my smart coffee desk.
Cherry.
Thank you. Did
That
you get
is-
the label to the camera.
Wow. Yeah, we're not sponsored by Bubbly, but
Not yet.
Not
Not with
yet.
that. Not with that attitude. we're
attitude.
not with
That's
that
right.
attitude.
Oh, that's really smart. I like it. I like where that's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got
so-
the right attitude. Well, 67,000 people living in Norfolk.
Is that the number?
We need 5,000.
Yeah. Not too much to
1,000.
ask.
No, that's like
We had
A
5,000 on
percentage.
the folk Instagram before it got deleted.
yeah.
That is a sad story.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
And what sucks the most, it's like they don't give me any reasoning. It's just like, hey, you violated something and your Instagram's gone.
That's devastating, especially if you are using a platform. Like, imagine if you were a full-time influencer
Yes.
and that was your business. I know
Yeah,
they always
well-
set up these backup accounts, but
we would do Instagram a lot. Like we did a lot on the Instagram and then just got cleared.
And it was always fun. I miss your commercials.
Yeah.
gotta do
Well, we
more
have a good one
commercials.
coming out.
I know
so-
what I
Yeah,
want to
true.
ask you. What's the story behind the folk with like you're always happy?
I don't know how it started, but
Just the character that you developed.
there was from
through the-
something else.
The other day you were laying on your tummy and you were just kicking your feet.
Yes,
and it
it
was
just
the funniest.
It was kind of like an organic thing. It just kind of naturally went into that, but it started off as like, oh, we're just gonna do this straight face. It's just
Hey.
our type of humor.
It's us.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, what's going on? So we're like, okay, we need to balance it a bit. So I'll be the
the funny,
outgoing,
goofy-
funny.
You're bringing like elf vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It is like elf vibes.
Yeah.
that's the idea. Just kind of this over the top.
Oh, Christmas this
enthusiasm.
year, there will be some new
Ooh.
ideas for commercials.
Oh, I have to
Yeah.
dress as an elf.
You will have to dress as elf.
Not,
Not a
as,
elf.
Yeah,
Elf.
Yeah.
get it right.
Yeah.
Instagram might delete me for copyright or something. So, yeah, there was no planning into that. It just kind of
Okay.
happened.
I
Yeah.
just wondered if there's something.
But now the ball's rolling, so we got to stick with it.
What option do you
Yeah.
have?
I think somebody came up to Ashley and Eric at the booth at the Norfolk County Fair and was like, "You're much happier than you are in your Instagram video."
And that's actually like a compliment because at Norfolk County Fair, you're there on your feet on the concrete for
Oh.
like hours every day. That's a grind.
we learned that the hard way the first year, and then after that, we started adding padding underneath our flooring.
Smart.
So it does help.
Yeah, I did that the campaign year. I was your neighbor.
You are our neighbor.
I had some prime real estate.
Yeah, that's a good spot. It's
That is a good spot by the
Was.
folks.
everybody kind of walk
And
on
when you
there.
came in the other the other end of the building where all the entertainment and the little drink space was, you could see straight through to my booth. But then you got to the door and there was the folk.
We keep improving it. I like this
the
year's
booth
was
gets
good.
really cool every year.
My idea was to have that hat thing above.
I was just gonna say, I remember walking by that and like grabbing a hat. I think it was this hat, and you're just like, you want that?
Yeah.
You're like, I need help with something next week. Do you want to help?
Here, have a hat.
I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
My daily driver.
Will work for folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. Well, I think I've only bought a few things, and the rest have been just.
You know what my
things.
favorite is? The baby stuff. Like anytime someone has a baby, even
Or
if they
little
don't
folk.
live in, I gift it to them. I think it's like the coolest like Norfolk thing to get. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
We're trying to, I'm trying to lean into that a little bit more with Eric and Ashley, but it's hard to source because where we get our clothes now, they don't make little folk stuff.
ugh,
So the little folk stuff is
Unbelievable.
Gildan, and it's like, we try to keep things ethical and local and Canadian, and
unbelievable.
it's
yeah, because
hard to
I know
find
because a
things.
couple years ago I put in a request for beach towels.
Oh,
Still
even the
nothing.
mayor. can't
Ashley,
even-
Eric, do you hear that? Mayor
Eric?
Amy wants beach towels.
And not a regular size towel either. Like a pool towel, like a big beach towel.
the big
Imagine them on
obnoxious
boats,
ones.
like hanging on
True.
boats to dry across
Didn't
Lake Erie.
Matty Hupoya, he has towels with zippers on them,
Oh, I saw
pockets on the towels, so
Wow.
you can put your key. Brilliant.
Listen,
That
I don't
is
need
really
that
smart.
much.
Brilliant.
I don't. You
You
don't
just
have to
want
go
the
that
folk.
far.
that towel.
What a cool
Okay.
gift
I
would be a cool
will
gift.
put in a good word.
on beaches,
Mhm.
Turkey Point, Port Dover, Long Point,
Yeah. Okay.
Love the beach.
Heard. Noted.
or like that's still my preference. But like a big sick beach umbrella that says.
And
the
we have a
folk.
beach folk logo, so kind of makes sense.
Yeah, Eric doesn't have to do anymore. He just has to print it.
Wow, we just got to source. Yeah, I don't know if we would source blank towels and screen print them. I don't know how that would hold, but we might have to just get it.
That's why you make the big bucks. Let us know.
Okay. I'll let you know how that goes. Is there anything more of importance as far as like Mayor Amy goes you want to touch on before you got to go? I know you're working on the big thing right now is affordability.
Mhm.
What exactly do you mean by that? Is this housing? Is this food? Is this taxes? What is it?
All of the above. So, yeah, I guess we'll chat about that. I had a couple motions in the last month, and then we kicked off an affordability roundtable at council. So, the first motion was something from our AMO partners, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and they basically did this comprehensive review and determined that the province was downloading services all the time to the municipality. This happens all the time. It's not this particular government, but it's just the way it goes. They do less and less, and they try to correct their budget, which means someone has to make up those services somewhere, and it usually falls to the municipality, one taxpayer. So, they recognized that municipalities across Ontario were subsidizing the provincial budget to the tune of $4 billion a year. So you look at homelessness in downtown Simcoe, in Delhi, that's on the rise, and typically funding goes to the bigger cities from the province for that. So that's something, we're doing here.
And this money that the province is giving, like, do you have to use it on very specific things?
Sometimes, yeah, it's specific to what you've applied into or what
Okay.
what its allotment can be used for. Mental health and addictions, we don't have a pool of funding from the province for that, but that's certainly on the rise. Asylum seekers, like think of all the Ukrainians who have come to Norfolk County recently.
I've met some, yeah.
So long story short, this motion, the first motion we sent off was to ask the government to look at a new funding model for municipalities. Under the Municipal Act, we can collect property taxes, which is the majority of the funding. We can collect fines and user fees. So book the arena for this rate, pay your parking ticket or pay for parking or else this fine. But it's very limited to how you can collect revenue. And so we sent that motion off. Council unanimously supported it, and a bunch of other municipalities were doing the same. And then I started to think, oh man, like it's not my job to advocate for a new funding stream or new funding model is great. It's my job to advocate for Norfolk. And so I put together a bunch of stats about Norfolk County. With this, I found really interesting. We did it's called BMA study recently. So we know in Norfolk County that we have less people living across more land mass than others. We're not densely populated because we're dispersed.
That goes for Canada on a whole, I think.
Yeah, but I think when you crunch the numbers on 444 municipalities, most of them have a lot of urban centers. And
Yeah.
we're still sprinkled. We're still rural. And then we have a higher senior population compared to most. I think we're like 66%, and most sit around 62%. We earn less per household here in Norfolk to the tune of $20,000 less
Whoa.
a year than the provincial average. So more people, more expensive to provide services because you have to spread the services out far and wide, less money to go around for these people. Property taxes are high. They're going to continue to increase. Water rates are high, going to continue to increase. So then I thought, well, I got to put together like something specific for Norfolk. So we did a second motion saying, hey, Norfolk needs a new deal. And I don't know if you caught in the news, Toronto got their new deal. They got millions from the provincial government because they have parts of like the DVP is being offloaded as a provincial asset now. And anyways, but in the meantime, we started working on a mayor's affordability roundtable, which is open to a couple different topics of discussion, like in-kind services. What can the municipality do for free that can make life more affordable for people? So probably isn't going to touch on food insecurity and whatnot because it's not a municipal service, but a lot of different things like, you know, could we be hosting like free skates for seniors or, you know, I'm not sure what those solutions will look like, but what do we have that we already could be doing that we're not doing to make life more affordable? The other one is housing and development. That subject will be the second meeting. The third one is partnership opportunities with local businesses, charities, not-for-profits, or developers that want to come in and sponsor something. Maybe there's a business out there that wants to sponsor a youth soccer league, and they want to pay to rent out the facility for dryland training, and that can reduce the rate for mom and dad to put the kids in the program. And you know, Norfolk County, we wouldn't waive the fee because the way that you're set up, we still need to have that income coming in, even if there's a fee associated with it. You wouldn't move it over because that means the taxpayer has to pay for it. It's the money still has to be generated. We don't have the ability to say, hey, here's a free day for this, that, or the other. We still would make those transfers to keep everything very accountable. So looking for partnerships. And then the last one is at the end of our discussion, we will talk about lobbying to upper levels of government, everything that came up that maybe isn't a municipal service, but we still think warrants a discussion. We could send off to the province or the federal government to discuss. But long story short, we have 7 community members who joined Councillor Huffman and I, which makes 9 at the council table. We're going to meet once a month. And we had 50 applicants to join the committee, which is like unprecedented in my term for people applying, and sorry, from the last term as well. People applying for committees usually get like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 or 7. So we had 50 people. So 1, really cool that people want to help out and join. 2, like the topic resonates with people that we have to do something. So I sifted through these applications and really cool stuff. Like we've got, you know, Sarita Free.
Yeah. She's my mortgage broker.
She is just so great.
She's great.
She, you know, has that mortgage lens, and she talks about how she's meeting young people in Norfolk County all the time who can't qualify to buy up their home.
I would not have gotten a house through the bank.
Yeah.
Directly through the bank.
Right.
Yeah, she was like a huge part of why
Right.
I own a house. Yeah.
So love that her voice is at the table to talk about. I don't
That's
sit
great.
down to talk with people about getting a house all the time. Like I know housing prices are expensive. I know we need to build different housing types here in Norfolk, but she has that. We've got you know, the gentleman who's the chair and the CEO, of United Way. So not-for-profit foundation that could potentially partner with us and, you know, look at different funding models. We've got a gentleman who spent his life in basically in development who can bring that lens to the table. And we've got someone who works in the hospitals with mental health and addictions.
It's great. They can at least speak the language
Right.
of that particular.
So it's like, we talk about this with diversity around the council table, but I can look at an issue and bring my perspective to it, and that's it. So you need to have diversity around the table when you're making decisions. And we assembled this amazing team. We only had our first meeting, so I'm hoping a couple of them still warm up and come out of their shells a little bit. But out of 50 people, they were hand selected to be there for a reason, and they have all different lived experiences. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna dig into it and keep it streamlined to those topics and see what we can do to make life more affordable.
exciting.
Very cool. Very cool.
You have like a super team behind you.
We do. We have a cool team.
Yeah.
And, you know, here in Norfolk County, we have so many smart people and just professionals, and we need to lean on them more. lean on them and bring them into the conversation and drag people into municipal government, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
So yeah, affordability roundtable.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And there was one thing I saw you post recently. You're now representing like 5 different counties?
Score.
6? Score. That's
Yeah.
it.
South
What it-
Central Ontario region. So former Mayor Dennis Trevally actually started that with a few others when the tobacco industry was declining. And so Middlesex, Elgin, Oxford, Brant, and Norfolk counties came together. They pay a membership fee, and then it incorporated into essentially a business structure. And it's an advocacy firm, essentially, plus can apply for grants and bring funding home to various communities. So out of those communities, that's 1/3 of Ontario's rural population is represented. And we go to the government and we pick our priorities. And so we, streamline what we ask for so that we move in lockstep together. We just had our AGM yesterday and I'm the new chair.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very exciting. I saw you post about that. I'm like, you know what? I should probably brush up on some recent posts.
Cool.
Not that I don't watch your stuff anyways, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting. I mean, I think, one, I'm busy enough. Did I really need to do it?
You don't say.
No, but it's good for the brand, right?
Do you have free time?
I really no. I'm going to go away on holiday soon with my husband. That's nice.
Ooh.
But
Okay.
no, if I'm being honest, I work all the time, but I really like what
You
I
c-
do.
You care and you love it. And I saw that in you right away. And I was like, oh, I have to vote for this girl. I need to help her.
Oh,
I need to help her.
That's so kind.
Yeah.
I drove home the other day. I had I went to the office at 8:30 in the morning, and we had a workshop, and then I had some meetings, and then we had our first affordability roundtable, and I pulled into the driveway at 8:45 at night, and I literally stopped and thought this to myself and came in and said it to Andrew when I came inside, and I was like, I'm not mad at all at that day. Like I really, the bummer of the day was that I couldn't go to yoga, but like that's
I
it.
missed you at the
Do you-
yoga studio.
You go to yoga?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
I need to.
Like hot yoga?
Yeah, I prefer
Okay.
warm. I'm a little fair weather
Okay.
yoga chick.
I'm a hot flow. hot flow.
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yep. I always see Drew there getting his flow on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this year I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to prioritize a little bit of me time in the mix. So that's yoga. We've got a Peloton at home. Highly recommend it.
Exercise is
Highly.
key. Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm going to take a bit more time off compared to maybe last year and working like a long weekend here or there, something like that, because I think, that's important from longevity perspective of the role and just,
Well, you've put a full year in now, so
yeah. And honestly, people are surprised by this, but I'm introverted. Like I'm
Really?
like I'm genuine. I'm really enjoying this. This is great fun, and I'm gonna go off to the home show later, and I really will enjoy it. But when I get home, I'll be tired.
you're exhausted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drains the battery.
So it's not like how you perform while you're out there. It's like how it impacts you later. So yeah. Anyways, I love the work, and it doesn't feel like work. It has its downs, that's for sure. The social media part is really hard. Connecting with people that you've known your whole life in the community, and then all of a sudden they like flick a switch and you're dead to them because you didn't support something that they believe in or you weren't on their side. That's very weird.
That's got to be.
That has to
And
be
hard.
tough because you can't support everything.
No.
And there are portions of the area that like certain things. They all like different things, and you can't cater to everybody.
You know what?
It's
At the
impossible.
beginning, you asked about being prepared to be mayor. And one of the things that I was not prepared for, both as counselor and mayor, is fulfilling your duties and your roles, because there are two very distinct roles. One, you're an elected official who represents the people that put you there and their wants and their needs. So they say, I don't want my property taxes to increase. And you have a responsibility to reflect that around the council table and be cognizant of it. But the other very distinct role is you are now responsible for that corporation that is a municipality. It is also still run like a business. And so the property taxes are required because we're in such a bad financial position. And so we will have to raise the property taxes, and we have to put money into the reserves. And so that's like a silly example.
You don't
but
have a choice.
another example would be paid parking. Port Dover did not want paid parking. Like they did not want it. And I understand that and I respect that. And I'm not in the business of telling people, you know, what they should or shouldn't have or what's best for a business or harming a business. But ultimately, they also want more parking. And it is not the responsibility of the taxpayer in Frogmore to subsidize parking costs in Port Dover. And we don't have money in a reserve for a rainy day to go buy a new parking lot and pave it and put the lighting in and whatever the case is, right? So there's so many factors. But you show up to work, and if you're just being a counselor and you're just being the mayor, you're just being that elected person, you go in and you vote against paid parking. That's what you do. But if you are cognizant of your role and the contribution that you need to be making to the corporation to leave it better than you found it, to represent everyone, you vote for paid parking because you need that extra revenue to support initiatives.
It's a double-edged sword. Like, yes, you want to support everybody in the community, but at the same time, you need to make sure this, you know, business per se is functioning correctly.
That's right.
And to function, you need money.
Yep. You need to run it responsibly, right? And so sometimes that comes with things that are uncomfortable and difficult, but that's the distinction, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Especially coming into mayor, being more strategic, taking on the role of CEO instead of.
Yeah. You're going to get some hate. Like, you just, yeah. It's part of the job.
Yeah. I think, you know, my skin's thickened up and you develop thick skin as you go. But sometimes it's still really personal.
You care.
Yeah, you care.
You care, but you need to, it's out of your hands sometimes. So.
Yeah. Very unique, very cool. A lot of people wanted the job and I got it. So I'm in a really lucky position.
Pretty wild.
You know, to make change and serve my community. And hands down, I know I worry about this already. What will I do next that will be as fulfilling as this? Because I don't, like, say I, you know, leave and I go start off my own business or whatever. The fulfillment will not be there. This is like the greatest way I can serve. Yeah, this is it. So much fulfillment, but it does come with a lot of responsibility, but I'm lucky to have it.
Now, how are the rules as far as running it? Like, can you run infinitely? Can you take a break for 20 years and then run again? Yep. Yes, you can. Okay.
The only rule is if you don't file your financial paperwork by the deadline after you run and your audit is clean and you followed the rules, then you're not eligible for running in the next election.
Okay.
But that's basically it. You also can't be a felon.
Whoa, damn.
You're out, Drew?
I'm out, yeah.
Bummer. Don't tell me. I want to keep it a mystery.
All right.
Yeah. Circle back to that later.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Did you have some kind of what's the term, like imposter syndrome when you finally broke?
I think I still do a little bit, like every day, because there's no rule book on how to be a counselor or be mayor. And most people who run multi-million-dollar corporations have some experience on their way to the top. But that being said, we've got a stellar team with a great CAO, a great treasurer, you know, staff who run the department. So take a step back and just try to stay connected with the people, think strategically, and then make policy that reflects that.
Yeah. And from my experience, counselors and beyond, like, everybody's so proud to live here.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Like they care.
Honestly,
care a lot.
I see we work with a lot of municipalities. We go to these conferences. Everybody, you know, has something to be proud of. We have it going on in Norfolk.
Yeah, we do. It's beautiful. There's cuisine and food abundance and landscapes and lakes and
diversity just in the topography. Like you're on the beach and you can be on the trails and you can
breweries, wineries, like
I know, we're pretty cool.
And a rich history, so yeah.
And a podcast that's gonna go viral.
Hopefully. We'll see. Number 2, baby. Number 2. Amy for number 2. Nice. Not that we didn't want you as the first podcast, but I did promise Eric and Ashley. So
no, a man of his word. I respect that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for the chat and the mocktail.
You're welcome.
That was delicious.
So
yeah. Did you like it?
I really did.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that.
It's a nice touch.
Thank you.
I was coming before the mocktail.
Well,
and the photo.
That's the thing. Well, you know, I told Drew, I said, I want each guest to come on and kind of be like an experience, not just them, like we're exploiting them for sponsors, you know?
Oh.
I want it to be like a hang and
No, really, really cool. Happy to support you guys. That you're both doing lots of great stuff, and we're lucky to have you in Norfolk. And
Oh,
anytime.
thank you.
Aw.
Right back at
Aw.
you.
We're lucky to have you too.
Aw.
Anything you want to add, Drew?
No.
Okay, great.
See you at yoga.
Yep. Seiza, shout out to Seiza.
Yeah.
That's what I want to add.
Say yoga. I'll be there on Wednesday. Hot flow.
Flow.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Mhm.
You missed yesterday.
Wait, is that
or
Carrie?
whatever. No, Evelyn.
Oh,
What's today?
Today's
It's
Friday.
Friday.
I don't normally go on Thursdays.
No, I meant Wednesday. You weren't there Wednesday.
Oh yes, I was.
You, Ashley, and Trevor. No,
I was helping my brother and sister-in-law move. So
Thursday night, scary Carrie.
Carrie scares me.
She's scary Carrie.
I've done power flow with her, and she's terrifying.
One time we were doing class and somebody was like, it was like all ab focused and core, and it was just filled
Oh,
after the
no.
new year. Like all these people were there that
yeah,
like,
it was-
probably haven't even acclimatized to the heat yet. And somebody's like, they were like, is this even yoga? And she was like, yep. Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
Good team there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Let's wrap it up. Oh, before we go, where can people find you? Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, websites.
I hope that everybody who's listening here are the Instagram types. But yeah, Amy for the folk. Or now I've changed it to Mayor Amy for the folk because
You are the mayor.
I am the mayor.
Owning it.
yeah, I'm living in it. So on Instagram, I'm on X, I'm on TikTok and Facebook.
Great.
Yeah,
Well, and we'll link it in there for everybody.
very cool.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Until next time.
Ciao.
You want to hit our exit? Just hit up. We have all these pre-programmed. Oh, where's the music one? That's the one. We'll have to preload some stuff. All
This
right.
feels
Intro
very
on.
breaky to me.
Yeah.
It feels very bathroom break.
Yeah.
That's fun,
Preloaded, but we
guys.
can-